Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to PPS Theory Sessions here. So after a long break, I believe at least 1 week, you were off for your first and final examinations, right? I hope everyone has done it well and your exams were good. Let's now again focus on second semester subjects. So we'll quickly recall our previous part. So we were going through unit number 4, which is array and strings, and we are done with arrays. Array is nothing but a collection of elements having same data type, and we can refer all those elements by a single name. That's what we call an array. In terms of memory allocation, all those elements are going to be sequential. An array can be integer, float, double, string, any primitive data type we can apply to array. Now, when we say it's a character array, it has as a number of applications in a specific way, and that's why we call it a string. So when we have a character array, a sequence of characters, we call it a string. And these are a few examples also. So we read and write strings, combine a few basic operations on string can be combining or comparing two strings, copy one string from one place to another, extracting some characters, portions of strings, and so on. So we had gone through this part, like how can we have a character array or a string? So need to be character data type and then your string name and the size of your string in the square bracket. So institute of 10, institute is the variable and 10 is the size, so we can store those many characters inside, and char is the data type. So this is how we declare. Along with the declaration, if we want to initialize our string, so we can do it by two ways. One way is just like other array. You go for equals to sign and then curly braces, and then in those curly braces you define number of elements by comma. And when we say it's a character, character must be defined in a single quote. So having a single quote and then writing a character, that gives you one element of character array. And likewise, you can go for multiple characters like this one, and so on. So if it is 10 character array, 10 is the size, and you give only 5 characters, then remaining 5 will be null character, terminating character. Now that's one way. Another way is this one. Initializing a string makes it easy by having double quote indication. So this double quote defines it is a string and it will have a sequence of characters inside. So that defines a string, and we can also assign string to a character array at the time of declaration with this notation. Remember, this is only possible, okay? This is only possible at the time of declaration. You cannot assign entire string to a character array variable later on. It's not possible. This is only possible when you declare your array, character array. At later point of time, अगर आपको ये पूरी string एक साथ किसी एक variable में डालनी होगी, then you have to go for string function, which is copy. We will see it later. Fine. So this is how we initialize our string. Few more examples: declaration and initialization. We had discussed this thing also, right? And we have seen how a string will be stored inside a memory. So string storage. And at that time, we discussed that there is a null character when we are working with strings. Now I'm saying string, not a character array only. So if you say character array, it is equivalent to other arrays having number of elements and all. But when you specifically say string, then string must be terminated using null character. Look, I'm writing this thing in single quote, which means it's a character, and that character has indication /0. /0 is the null character. It's a terminating character which actually defines that your string is terminated at this place. So this is the end of your string. This is the end of your character sequence. Okay, so remember, when we are talking about strings, it must be having a null character at the end. When you assign your string to any character array variable, it will automatically append this null character at the end inside your string data. Okay, so you have assigned MEFGI only. So inside your memory, you will have those characters MEFGI, and the last array element after that MEFGI will be the null character. Fine. So this is also we discussed, and then we jumped to the how to get string from user and how to print string on the screen. So we discussed this thing also. So we have scanf, getChar, and getS methods. We have seen these methods in previous unit IO functions. Okay, so very quickly we'll move through these slides, and we'll continue from this from the place there where we stopped in the previous session. Right. So using scanf, if you want to scan your string, you have to have remember %s. Okay, %s as your placeholder for the string, and at this place, don't forget this thing, all scanf will have ampersand sign before your variable, but when you are working with strings, there is no ampersand sign before string name. Now this is one exceptional case, you have to remember this thing. So scanf, getChar is going to give you one character, and here you want to have multiple characters, so you need to go for loop. So inside your for loop, you can have a getChar function, or you can go for getS, which is going to get entire string, and variable name will be inside your parenthesis. So these three different ways by which you can get a string, and then when you want to print those strings, you can have printf, putChar, and puts functions. So we have printf %s and the string name. If you go for putChar, it is going to put one character. So if we do have multiple character, we need to go for for loop. Now inside your for loop, at this place condition, if you are predefining your loop to be to run for number of times, then you can simply have I less than 5, I less than 10 or so. But if you are not sure how many characters are there inside your string, then you can also go for this notation, name of I. Look, name is your variable name. Of I defines the index, so ith character from the name we are accessing, and we compare it with null character. So if name of I is not equals to null character, then we are going to run this loop. अब simple question आप करोगे, null character कब मिलेगा? when you reach at the end of your string. So जैसे ही null character मिलता है, when you reach at the end of your string, you are going to stop this loop. As simple as that. So ये loop चलता रहेगा जब तक आपकी string खत्म नहीं होती. And when your string is over, this loop will be terminated. So that's putChar, and the puts function is also there, which is going to put your entire string on the screen. So this is where we stopped, and the next step is for us to have a look at a few code in practical, so that we can work with strings, right? So now let us go to have a look at those programs. Now I suggest that today I have opened Mic for All. and because of your 100-point activity announcement. But I suggest that every students please keep off your mic. If you have any doubt, you can post in the chat box. I'm continuously looking at that chat box, and I'll give your answers there. Fine. Just a minute. Yeah. Okay. So let us now jump to the program and have a look at few programs with strings. So I have a fresh file here, new file, string.c. .c is the C file extension, and we are going to work on this file now. We'll start with a very basic how to get a string and print a string, and then we'll deep dive to more complex examples, and we see how we can use strings in other programs also. So to start with, as always, we go for include section first. Include. Let's have stdio.h, and then we go for int main, the main function, and inside that, first we are going to have our variables. So if I want to go for for loop, then definitely I'll require one loop control variable. I call it I. And as long as we want to work with strings, so let us have a character array. Let's call it name. And this is the array, right? Now, whenever we declare a string variable, which is actually the character array, we need to give it a size here. So right now, let's say 15 characters I require. So char name of 15 is my string variable. Please make sure string is not a data type in C. String is what we interpret to the character array. So character is the data type. We are getting array of characters which we interpret as a string. Okay, so this is what we this is how we can declare a character array or a string variable. Now, for example, if you want to assign something at the time of declaration, then this is how you can go for character name of 15 equals to the default initialization of any array goes for curly bracket, and then inside this curly bracket, as long as it is a character array with a single quote, you can go and assign one element. So m, then comma, inside a single quote, e, then comma. So this comma defines number of elements here, right? So me, mef, and let me go for g and I. Okay, so what we have done here is we have assigned 5 characters in name array. Now name array does have 15 elements inside, but we only assign 5 elements. The remaining 10 elements will be by default null character. Okay, now let us have a look at first print, putchar, and puts functions. So let's go through it. Let's say we want to print this mefgi string on the screen, output screen. So what we can do is we have different ways of doing that thing. So first is we can go for printf function, where %s is going to be the placeholder to print some string. Then for a new line /n, and after comma, what we do is we simply give the variable name. So this is going to print our string on the output screen. So if we save this code, and very quickly if we try to run this one, we'll have that output in here. So we have MEFGI, right? Now, just focus on this place right now. We have given name variable to the printf function, and that name is having MEFGI 5 characters inside. It has printed those 5 characters only, not 15 characters, only 5 characters, because from the 6th character it found null character inside. 6th place पे उसने null character देखा, and that's where it stops printing other characters. MEFGI, I के बाद जैसे ही उसको null character मिल गया तो उसने बाकी के characters print करने बंद कर दिए, and that's the reason we have MEFGI only, right? So that's how we can print our string on the output screen. Now that's one way, that's not the all. We can also go for put s, okay, and at this place you can go for simple name variable. Now if you do this, then on the output screen we are going to have MEFGI twice. So first MEFGI is because of printf, and second MEFGI is because of put s. Now, what is the difference between these two? Why do we need these two things differently? So if you only want to print, okay, if you only want to print your variable, then you can go for put as. But मान लो कि आपके variable के साथ आपको और भी कुछ printf में message चाहिए, with your value आपको और भी कुछ message चाहिए, then you can do it with a single printf like this one. यहाँ पे मैं दे सकता हूँ a message like this is using printf and then %s. Now this you cannot do with puts, okay? Puts में आप एक पैरामीटर दे सकते हो. You cannot combine two strings directly at this place. Okay, so printf में हम अपना message भी रख सकते हैं with our value, and if I run this thing now, then we are going to have that message along with the value, and puts will only have that value, right? So that's printf and puts. Now what if we want to go for putchar function? अगर putchar को use करके मुझे ये string print करना है, then what I can do? So in that case, let's have a look at that thing first. We are going to have putchar, right? And if I pass name variable here in the putchar, then let us see what happens when we run this thing. What it says, if there is no compile time error, program में compile time कोई भी error नहीं थी, but एक warning आ गई. ठीक है, चलो warning what it is, it says incompatible. चलो warning में आपको ज़्यादा पता नहीं चला. Output देख लो क्या है. This is using printf, वो मिल गया. उसके बाद आपको MEFGI मिल गया. उसके बाद आपको x. Now it is not printing MEFGI, it is printing x here. तो आप बोलोगे कि ये x कहाँ से आया? So what it does is, when you pass your string variable or the simple variable character array variable, which is your character of 15 characters, 15 is the size. So it is actually converting this entire array to the integer which actually is expected by the putchar function. Putchar function को एक integer चाहिए. So C program खुद ब खुद क्या करेगा? Implicit typecasting, if you remember. It will try to convert your array to one integer value, which is not exactly possible. It can refer to any one element, and that's why we found this problem. So now get back to the code and try to resolve this, because putchar need to have pointer or integer value which is pointing to your character. So M is your 0th character, E is your character at index 1, then index 2, then index 3, then index 4, and so on. So what we can do here is we can go for a for loop for I equals to 0, because the index value always starts with 0, right? So I assign I equals to 0, I less than, I can go for 15 and I plus plus. And inside this one, I can have my put char. And just to have this percentage sign, ये percentage sign को नीचे लेने के लिए मैं एक extra printf slash n डाल रहा हूँ. So need not to have this always, but let it be. Okay. So now what we do is, when we pass this name variable, along with that, we are going to pass index. So this index is going to refer these characters one by one. एक एक करके वो character को refer करेगा. And सबसे पहले आपको मिलेगा m. So m will be on the screen because of put char function, right? So m, then e, f, g, I. Now this loop is going to run up to 14, I less than 15. So I value 0 से लेके 14 तक जाएगा, and every time it is going to print those characters. So let us see what happens then. So if I run this code, what it does, the first line you have, this is using printf, okay, मिल गया. Second line you have mefgi because of put s, and third line you have mefgi because of this for loop. And actually ये third line में null characters भी print हुए हैं, but as long as it is a null character we cannot see it. लेकिन ये loop जो है वो 15 बार चला है total. But you do not have that effect because remaining characters are null characters. Now what you can do here, you can optimize your loop. 15 बार नहीं चलाना. जब तक मुझे characters मिलते हैं, I want to run my loop up to that character only. So मैं यहाँ पे क्या कर सकता हूँ? I can go for name of I, which is going to be referred as a character. And if this character is not equals to null character, means /0, then I'm going to run this loop. Let me save this thing. So now if I run this code, there won't be any difference in the output. Output वही रहेगा जो पहले मिला. Fine. As you can see, there is no change in the output. Output वही है जो पहले था. But still, we can say that we have optimized our code. पहले ये लूप 15 बार चल रही थी, अब ये लूप 5 बार ही चलेगी. 6th टाइम जब I की वैल्यू 5 हो जाएगी, name of 5 null character होगा and your loop will be terminated. Okay. So this is the 3 functions: printf, putchar, puts we have seen to print our string on the output screen. Now let me have a look at few queries if there are, and after that we will see scanf functions or scanning functions. Yeah. So Dharmik is asking, here we take int I, but here we have to take character na, int C. Look, I don't understand, Dharmik, your query. Integer I is just a loop control variable, okay? For having number of characters, I have name array. So hopefully I'm clear, Dharmik. If you have another query, please post on the chat box again. Yeah, okay. And Sonu Kumar is asking, scanf add nahi hoga? Well, we will see scanf afterwards, Sonu. So hopefully at that time your query will be resolved. Yeah, Vyom is asking, did you type not equals to sign? Yeah, I have already told you that this is because of my editor. Okay, not equals to is something like this: exclamation and equals to sign. Now not equals to is the operator. Now because of my editor, when I type not equals to combinedly, it is going to convert it to the not equals to sign that you are looking at your screen right now. Now this is font ligatures in the VS Code setting, and I've already told you there are a number of fonts, Cascadia font and other fonts which you can install and you can achieve this thing. But otherwise it is this one, exclamation and equals to sign, right? So that is not equals to sign. Yeah, Yusuf is asking which font. Well, if you want to search, just search font ligatures. Font ligatures will give you the number of fonts. Cascadia is one of that. Let me show you those settings also if you want. When you go to settings, when you go to settings in VS Code and simply search for ligatures, okay, then you'll find it font ligatures, and from this JSON file you need to make it enable font ligatures somewhere. Find it out. I've done multiple settings at this. Yeah, I've used Fira code here for that thing, and font ligatures true. These two things you have to set. Font ligatures true, and you can change your fonts from the settings place also. Search for font and font family. You can set it here. I'm using Fira code right now. There is Cascadia font also. Well, this is not part of PPS, so let us not waste our more time in that thing. Okay. Yeah, so fine. Let's focus on the scanning functions now. So back to this one. Now, before printing it, what if we want to scan these values and we want to have this value from the user? What if I want my user to give me input? So there are a number of functions available. We can go for, let's say, get s. Okay. We can go for get s function. We can go for get care function, and we can go for scanf also. Now we'll go for get s first. Get s, and inside that you just need to give a variable name. Variable is name itself here. So let us have a acknowledgement message first for user. Please enter your name. Yeah, so that is just the acknowledgement. And then what we do is we make use of get s function, and we are going to scan that entire string inside this character array. Now, if I have assigned few characters already, then I'm going to overwrite those characters. Already मेरे पास MEFGI है, लेकिन जब मैं नई string user के पास से get करूंगा, तो ये नई string जो है वो इसको override करेगी. So when we print, we are going to have a new string here. Okay, and let us have a few new lines at this place so we can easily differentiate get and print. Yeah. Okay, so this is get s, and let us have a look at the output now. So one thing, it says a warning, this program uses get s, which is unsafe. Now I'll tell you later why it is unsafe, but at this place, just have a look at this this thing. Please enter your name, and it is expecting me to enter something. So what we'll do is we will give name here. For example, let's say Marwadi, and then I'm going to press enter. So when I press that enter, it took that word Marwadi word, and then it has stored that character sequence in this variable, character array variable. Already आपके पास जो MEFGI था उसको overwrite कर दिया with Marwadi. So later on when you print those things, whether you use printf, whether you use put as, or whether you use put char, आपको हर बार मारवाड़ी मिलेगा. We don't have MEFGI now because we have overwritten that place. So this is how you can have a word with get s. Now what if, let's say, we want to go for scanf? So मैं क्या करूँगा? I'm going to comment this out. Get s को comment करो and let us have scanf. So we use scanf, and as long as you know already, scanf requires placeholder, so %s, and then we are going to pass a variable name. Do not have ampersand sign here. जब आप string के साथ काम कर रहे हो तो यहाँ पे ampersand sign नहीं लगेगा. And this is how you can take a string using scanf. So if I again run this code, what is the mistake? Match. I think I have not saved my file properly. Let me rerun. Yeah. Okay. So it says, please enter your name. And now again, I'm going to say Marwadi, but this is all caps so that you can have a different, you can have a look at difference. So again, I give capital Marwadi and I get it in the printf part. So that's another way by which you can have your entire string in a single shot using getS or using scanf. Now there is third way of having a string character by character, and in that case you need to go for loop. For I equals to 0, I less than, let's say I want to have 6 characters, and then I plus plus. And inside this thing, what we can do is we can have a name of I equals to get char function. So what this will do is it is going to get one character at a time, and it is going to assign that character to the name of ith place in your name array. So that's how you can have 6 characters. But look, I'm fixing that thing. कितने character मैं लेने वाला हूँ? I'm going to fix it already. ये loop 6 बार चलेगी, तो ये get char 6 बार execute होगा, and it is going to get 6 characters only. जब तक मैं 6 character नहीं दूंगा वो आगे नहीं बढ़ेगा, और अगर 6 से ज़्यादा characters में दूंगा तो वो get नहीं करेगा. Let us have a look at that part. Okay, so let me run this code now. It again asks me for a name, and at this place now I'm going to give UNIVER. 6 character हो चुके, and then I press enter. So उसने वो 6 character ले लिए, UNIVER. But let me run this code again and let me type entire university. Okay, all small letters, university. मैंने 6 से ज़्यादा characters टाइप किए यहाँ पे, and I press enter. Still उसने 6 character ही लिए, small UNIVER. SITY उसने get नहीं किया because get char function एक character get करेगा. अगर ये loop 6 बार चलती है तो वो 6 character लेगा और उसके बाद सब कुछ neglect कर देगा. अगर मैं 6 से कम character देता हूं, let me save, run. अगर मैं 6 से कम character देता हूं, UNI, now still it is expecting me to have further 3 characters, लेकिन मैंने ये 3 character दिए और enter कर दिया, तो अभी तक 6 character खत्म नहीं हुए थे, right? मैंने 3 characters दिए और एक enter दिया, so total 4 input मैंने दे दिए. अभी भी उसे 2 input चाहिए, VE, and then when I press enter, it has taken those 6 things, U, N, I, enter, V, E. So ये 6 इनपुट उसने गेट करके एरे में डाल दिए, एंड व्हेन इट प्रिंट्स दोज कैरेक्टर्स, U and I प्रिंट किया, उसके बाद उसने नेक्स्ट लाइन एंटर भी प्रिंट किया. That's why you have VE on the new line. So this is because of put S, and this last 2 lines, it is because of put care. Try to understand this thing, right? लेकिन ये क्या कर रहा है? When we run this loop 6 times, तो वो 6 कैरेक्टर जब तक उसे नहीं मिलते वो आगे नहीं बढ़ेगा. So if you are already knowing how many characters you are going to get, तो आप इस तरह से for loop लिख सकते हो. Otherwise you need to go for getS and scanf. Right? Now let me very quickly give you the difference between getS and scanf so that we can complete this session also. So if I go to scanf and run this file, it will ask me to enter a name, and let me type Marwadi space university. Okay, Marwadi space university, and then I press enter. Now this is one not exactly a drawback or a problem, but this is how scanf has designed. Scanf is going to have a look at single word, क्योंकि आपने यहाँ पे %s एक ही प्लेस होल्डर लिखा है, and it is going to have a look at single word. Now this string is referring to a single word. आपने मारवाड़ी स्पेस यूनिवर्सिटी 2 वर्ड दिए यहाँ पे, लेकिन scanf क्या करेगा? It is going to have a single word. तो उसने मारवाड़ी ले लिया, स्पेस और यूनिवर्सिटी को निग्लेक्ट कर दिया. So that will happen with scanf. If you go for getS, अगर आप getS पे जाते हो, then getS refers to the entire string. It doesn't care of any character. So अगर मैं getS के साथ ये कोड रन करता हूँ, and if I print now, let's say, or if I give input Marwadi space university and then press enter, तो वो सब कुछ ले लेगा. मारवाड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी पूरी लाइन उसने ले ली. मारवाड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी एज अ printf, मारवाड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी एज a put s, then मारवाड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी as a put care loop also. Okay, now after that it has some problem. Now that problem is because of मेरा जो एरे था वो 15 कैरेक्टर स्टोर कर सकता है, लेकिन मैंने 15 से ज़्यादा कैरेक्टर्स उसको दे दिए. अब 15 से ज़्यादा कैरेक्टर मैंने दिए और लूप कहाँ तक चलाया? जब तक नल कैरेक्टर नहीं मिलता. तो एक्चुअली मैंने नल कैरेक्टर जो है वो 15 के बाद, मे बी इट इज़ अराउंड 20 कैरेक्टर्स लेंथ, तो अप टू दैट 20th कैरेक्टर उसको नल कैरेक्टर मिला ही नहीं. So in this for loop, what I'm going to do is, मुझे जो मेमोरी मिली है उससे ज़्यादा मेमोरी में एक्सेस करने जा रहा हूँ जब तक मुझे नल कैरेक्टर नहीं मिलता तब तक. And that's why it has aborted my program, right? Abort the program. That's because of that reason. So you also have to care about what input you are going to get, and according to your input you should declare your array properly. Yeah? So that's the major difference between getS and scanf. Still I will say that you should go for scanf. जब तक हो सके single word यूजर के पास से get करो. That's going to be the safe programming. getS जो है वो कोई कैरेक्टर को चेक नहीं करता. इट कैन टेक एनीथिंग. तो फिर आप नॉट ओनली सिंपल कैरेक्टर, स्पेशल कैरेक्टर सब कुछ डाल सकोगे with space and everything, and that is going to affect your program also. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thank you all for being part of this session here. We have seen input and output functions for string. In next lecture we are going to have a look at input and output again, but we will incorporate these two things inside our result program that we have already built. लेकिन अब यहाँ पे student की जगह पे student का नाम लेंगे. Fine. So that's what we are going to see in the next lecture tomorrow. Thank you everyone.